Hi LinkedIn, hi Facebook, Mike Sperduti here. And today, you're going to get an inside look. You're going to get under the hood to how we go about building a growth strategy. And I am grateful to have here Mr. Alan Quinlan. And Alan is the CEO of a company called Get Referred. And I want you to remember that name because you saw it first here. We're going to talk about why. And also, we have my partner here, Michael Strange, who heads up the Emerge Business Growth business. And Alan, we're thrilled to have you today.
Oh, great to be here.
Yeah, and thanks for letting us just talk openly about your business and what we're going to do together.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's just go first with what is, so everybody understands, what is Get Referred? Why do you need, you don't exist, you're a startup company. Why do you need to exist in the world?
One of the major stats that we discussed in our last meeting was that between 50 to 55% of patient referrals made by specialists and primary care doctors in America alone never make it to the appointment stage. There are multiple reasons as to why, but we saw that as an opportunity to do something about it. I've been down that path a couple of times. I'm sure you have your own patient referral story.
Absolutely, and let me just tune everybody into this. So let me just tell you what Alan's talking about. You, your mom, your dad, your kids, they go to a primary physician. There's trouble. Maybe they see something in the heart, they see something with an orthopedic situation, whatever it is, they need a specialist. And so that physician then, the primary care physician, needs to refer it to a specialist. What Alan has figured out is that 55% of the time when that referral is supposed to happen, Alan, do they show up?
They don't show up.
They don't show up.
The appointment is never even made.
Appointment's never made. Now, why isn't the appointment made?
Well, what we figured out was that the major problem here is that it's how that referral is actually made. So there's a couple of ways it's actually made. One, the physician can basically tell you need to see an orthopedic, off you go. You go ahead and you schedule that.
So the onus is on me?
So the onus is on you. Then there might be other situations that they have that they print out something for you and they give you information on a doctor, but again, the onus is on you.
Right.
So what we were able to see was the common trend was of all the systems that use, whether they have a really beautiful new EMR system that they're all talking about, or they're just doing this paper handoff or just giving information, the patient is the one that's burdened with with managing their care. They're the least qualified person in the room to manage their care.
Exactly.
So that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, and so I totally get it. I mean, there's a lot of people that just, you ask them to do anything, let alone scheduling, calling a doctor the whole time. It's a pain in the ass for the patient.
Yeah.
And just think about what that does to the patient condition, right? For people, obviously, there's a problem. Otherwise, a referral wouldn't be generated.
There's a problem, and you can imagine when you're given that kind of information, the frame of mind that you're in is certainly not a good one.
Yeah.
You know that there's something wrong and there's something that has to be done about it. But a lot of the times they engage the process. They don't really know why they're going to see a specialist. And then it just creates a backlog on the practice that's sending and the practice that's receiving. So we started looking at, where along the care continuum, what were the problems and how do they need to be addressed so that we can actually put a solution in the market that works for all of these stakeholders.
That totally makes sense. So now, the Get Referred solution.
Yes.
All right, so now life is going to be better for me, my mom, my kids, the doctors, the specialists. Why?
Well, if we take each of them individually.
Yeah,
right
let's
now.
do it.
So if we look at the doctor that's sending the referral, by putting it through a digital process like ours, they can catalog it. They can see that their patient, not only did they recommend they see a specialist, but they can see it through our system that he actually went and it was actually booked. For the actual receiving doctor, they have a better relationship with their primary care doctor or anybody that's referring to them. So they're able to build that relationship and make it a lot stronger. And then the stakeholder in the middle, being the patient, who is currently managing their care systems today, we take that burden completely away from them. So this is a physician-to-physician referral that happens through our system. The patient no longer has to do anything.
That's perfect.
So they just get notified that the appointment is actually booked. So the major contributor to why there's so few appointments actually made, we remove that from the middle and change the paradigm between the referral.
Which is perfect. So in essence, the patient wins because it's really easy. The patient just has to show up at a time when it's good for the patient.
Yes.
And what I love, which you didn't mention because we didn't give you time to do it, but the patient gets a lot of times just a text that says right when their appointment is, right? So it's very tech friendly. So it's easy for the patient. You just give them a time when you're available, and they'll schedule the appointment for you. It's great for the office because it's efficient. How long does it take for them to do the referral process?
Usually the lead time to an appointment is 28 days.
Yep.
An appointment can take anywhere, if they want to pick up the phone and call, it could take up 15 minutes of their time.
Right.
But let's say we throw in a small little wrinkle here, and that's insurance.
Yep.
And everybody has that problem.
Totally.
The reason why they don't like making those calls is because it usually leads to, we need to call the insurance company to see if they can get an approval for this. And that's the reason why they push it down onto the patient.
Yeah.
Within our system, we capture all of that information.
That's huge. So if they were to go through the effort,
Yes.
what's the average time for an office manager if they did take the onus of scheduling the appointment for the patient? How long would that take a typical office manager?
In our system?
No.
And for the office manager receiving it, it could be, anywhere up to about 10 minutes per patient call.
Yeah.
And that's if it goes well.
And you just think about, if you office managers out there, how many patients times 10 minutes? That would be your entire week if you just did that, right? Okay, so it's great for the patient, hands off. Great for the office manager, matches up the insurance right there, right then.
And let's not forget, there's no phone calls.
Right, it's just done.
It's phoneless. It's
Yep.
absolutely phoneless.
And then let's talk about the cardiologist or the specialist now. What's the benefit to them?
More patients. If you take the patient variable out of the middle, there's more patients booking appointments because it's done for them. So if you think about the other systems that are boasting a 45 to 55% success rate, 100% of the patients that are put into our system by the referring physician are scheduled with the cardiology practice. So he's getting more notifications than he would, and they're also staying within that healthcare system. So if he's the guy that you want to funnel patients to, he'll just see more.
Fantastic. And I know that you're in beta right now. How many sites do you have in beta?
There are now 140 that are out there actually working the product. So we've gone through 2 rounds of beta, and we've made a couple of very subtle changes. We've made our last change this week to the product, and now we're going to be looking at pushing that into a commercial launch at the start of next year.
Fantastic. And I guess the last thing just for this particular segment, because we'll do another segment about the finances and how we're going to roll this out and make this really big quick. But what would you say right now, the competition? Is anybody doing anything like this?
When people talk about referral systems, they usually start thinking about find a doctor portals that are out there. So if people want to look at us as a find a doctor portal, we have plenty of competition. But what I think people really need to understand is that the patient is no longer looking for that doctor. They can't come to our system and find a doctor. This is physician to physician. So we've created an on-demand physician referral platform.
Yeah.
So there isn't one of them out there right now. And our system sort of behaves like other forms of commerce that people are quite used to doing.
Yeah.
Very simple, and it fits into their routine. So if you want to think of us as a find a doctor portal,
No,
we
it's
have plenty of
no, it's
competition,
not.
but
Because
we're not.
No, because you're dealing with specialists. You're dealing from a physician to a physician. So it's an inter-network efficiency
It's an
for those
inter-network.
people.
And they don't have to have integrated systems. They can all be on different systems, and that's a
That's
major problem
huge.
in healthcare today.
Yeah, that's huge that you can go around.
So ours is completely standalone. We can feed into that system if we have to, but we're finding that the physicians don't prefer it not to work that way. So in order for us to be able to complete the task, we're completely standalone, and we're able to deliver on that value proposition.
That's fantastic. I'll tell you right now, and I know this is probably an overused thing, but it's almost like the Uber of healthcare, right? I mean, you basically, technology, you hit a button, it's efficient for everybody, you show up to your appointment, paperwork's filed, insurance is filed, revenues are made, easy.
The great thing Uber actually does, and I would agree with you that it is overused, but the great thing about Uber is it knows where you are, it knows where you want to go, and it is the vehicle to get you there. And it does it in a very, very seamless way. So when people refer to it's the Uber of something, it's how the process works. And we're basically the same. We already have your information as the patient. We know where you need to go because the referral being made, and we get you there. And we make it happen in 90 seconds or less.
Very cool. All right, so folks, I want you to remember this. Get referred. This is going to make your life easy. If you're a doctor, a specialist, office manager, patient, caregiver, this is what the future is, using technology to make our lives easier. That's Alan Quinlan. That's Michael Strange. I'm Mike Sperduti. We'll be back to you shortly about how to put a business plan together for a business just like this. Talk to you all soon.